Welcome to our new series, the 200 Movie Challenge. Our goal this year is to watch 200 movies that we haven't seen yet. If you want to listen to the full podcast where this clip is from, the link will be in the description. Now enjoy today's movie.
The time is now. We've been talking about this for the majority of the year. The fact we thought we were going to end on this film, but it became free, and we're like, fuck it, it's the season. We're doing this, and at least we're getting it over with. I don't know what our 200th film will be now. We'll discuss that when we cross that bridge. But so we're just going to jump right into it. Our 168th film of the year is Terrifier 3. Now, when we started this, you saw the first Terrifier last year when we kind of attempted things, and I'm like, well, let me see what this is all about. And we both were like, well, now we have to do it. The following week, we're both like, all right, let's do Terrifier 2. And we both agreed the first one, I mean, there's a very memorable kill, but the acting was horrible, but there was a little something there. You know, it was not a bad start, but we knew this guy's, way of doing things, blood and guts and very hard to watch kills. And then we saw Terrifier 2, and we're like, all right, they upped it. They got better acting. They got better, just everything looked a lot better. But then we had some questions. Because at least the first one, up until the end, felt like it could have just been some guy in a clown costume in just one scary night. And then this all got supernatural or religious, however you want to look at it. But either way, here we are, Terrifier 3. The Halloween Christmas movie, because I guess it can be either or, people say. So, Soto.
It's definitely a Christmas movie, but yeah.
Okay, is it a Christmas movie? I mean, to me, just because it takes place at Christmas does not make it a Christmas movie. I'm sorry. That's not my definition.
Like the first scene is like a murder on Christmas.
Doesn't mean it's a Christmas movie. But yeah, it starts off shockingly because even though they don't show it, I mean, things that are usually taboo in a lot of horror franchises, he just chops up a kid. The little boy.
Yeah,
you see the after effects.
I was not expecting that.
No.
Yeah, no, I didn't know where it was going, and I was like, please don't start this way. Like, just don't start in this general way, because I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And thankfully, it did not. But yeah, no, the standard was established in the beginning. I'm just like, oh god, this is from the very beginning. I'm just like, no,
yeah,
I don't want to watch this. Like everything that was happening in the beginning, I was like, nope. So go ahead, continue.
There's not much more to continue. It's where we go from here, because I will say it started off with that, him just basically killing the family, and obviously they didn't show what happened to the little girl, but we were going to assume what happened when he found her in the cupboards. Then it goes back 5 years to the way Terrifier 2 ended with, at the little insane asylum, and Chris Jericho gets his death scene, so, and then it jumps.
Face got ripped off.
Yeah, it did. A lot of face ripping off and a lot of other very interesting kills. And then it jumps back to present day of the 5 years with Sienna getting out of the mental hospital. But so then one of the problems I had, even though Terrifier 2 was definitely better than the first one, like I said, just production.
It just went up a level. Yeah.
It went up the level, but there was a lot of questions. Like they had that, like that child show dream, which made no sense to me. They brought up the father doing these drawings.
Clown Cafe?
Yeah, the Clown Cafe. Thank you. Now, I'm not going back to watch these. So if my brain's a little iffy on the first two Terrifiers, I'm sorry. The only thing that'll stick with me is one of the kills in the first Terrifier. And I know you know which one I'm talking about. Then they talk about how the father knew this and created the costume and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? And then they didn't answer it.
Right, that got dropped.
And I had a problem with that. I'm like, why? All right, now's the time to build the lore. And they kind of continued that in a way, but didn't fully answer it, because he hands her the drawing, and then all of a sudden he starts shaking and something demonic happens, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And he weren't. So I'm like, I guess I'm now to the point, because I know we just had to talk about horror movie franchise. It's like, okay, the first one established itself. You can definitely feel like it kind of felt very indie, very like even the very first Texas Chainsaw, just like not much story, just, but give me the lore, give me something, whether, just I'm on this ride. But I will tell you, Soto, and I know we text each other, like, this movie felt like there was no point. And
Uh,
I mean,
yeah, yeah,
story wise,
yeah.
I'm just talking about more story wise. You know, I obviously, because again, we talked about this family opening kill, but why? Why this family? Why, you know, because it's like, this brings in a little bit more religious aspects and like Sienna. I think that's her name, right? Sienna? Whatever.
Yes,
Um,
yes. Easy.
yes. And she, you know, just going after her and her family.
Hmm.
I don't know. There's just a lot of things, you know, just I wanted it to make sense. I'm like, no matter how absurd, you know, we've watched some crappy movies, Soto. I don't care. If you tell me that's the plot, we said if you're like, hey, these are my rules, this is the plot, just go with it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like I felt,
Yes.
I don't know. I just felt so out of place. It's like, okay, here's another brutal kill that I'm gonna have to turn away at some aspects. Oh God, what are they doing with the rats? Okay, great. This is just great. I I don't know. That's how I felt. So what were I guess what were your initial thoughts going? I know how much you loved quote unquote getting into this, but what are
Nah,
your what are your overall thoughts before we kind of pick apart some
I
things?
really like. Okay, yeah, plot, sure. I felt like I was trying to survive this movie. Like I myself was trying to survive this movie. So, because I was so into just like, am I going to be able to stomach the bullshit that I'm seeing? Like, I never like thought about the plot. I mean, I really started hating Art the Clown and his little demon friends because I'm just like, you are the cause of me having to see these terrible things. Um, yeah, like, was I mad at the movie because there was no lore or plot? Like, I guess thinking back on it, like, that's a good point. That was kind of lost from whatever, and I don't know. I just was trying to just make it through because, and we texted about this too as well. I don't know who these movies are for. I have an idea of who these movies are for, and you
Yeah,
mentioned that they just try to keep going and raising the bar, and that like the fans of this franchise are like, oh, it's not fucked up enough, like it's got to go even like no, like do that shit on your own time. Like I mean, I just don't. I would have, if he had gone more towards the lore, he probably would have lost more of his like core audience because there's a huge following for these movies, or it's, I guess you could say it's a cult movie. I don't think this is a mainstream horror franchise, although I do say, and I do think that it's iconic. I don't know who this movie is for. I had this one like fucking shithead coworker um that I worked with or worked around in a past life, who I guess in the store would play all three of these movies like simultaneously, like in the store. Uh and I had no concept of like what that meant. I just was like, oh, okay, it must be some sort of violent movie. But if I was the manager of that store at the time when this asshole was trying to do this, I would have been like, no, that does not fly here. Like people are trying to come in here. Like that's the kind of imagery is not what we should see. I'm not saying that I'm like, oh my god, a Puritan, this is way too violent. But I do not enjoy this amount of violence in the movies that I'm like ultra violence kind of shit. Like
yeah,
you talked about the first kill in the first movie where that woman gets bisected in half. That happens in this movie too, except with the guy. So now I'm watching a clown chainsaw a guy's dick off, like, and bisecting him in the shower after chopping off his arms. And I get like the humor part of this, like, and that people watch this and it's kind of just funny because it's so absurdly over the top. But I find it to just be unenjoyable completely. I did not get, like, I dreaded every single moment that there was going to be a kill or everything like that because I knew that this director just has to keep going higher and higher. And fine, keep going. I'm not going to say stop going where you want to go. It's just not for me. And yeah, now I have to see Terrifier 4 because like I talked about a little before we got on, it ends in an open-ended way where it's like, okay. So it's like now the lore kind of is like, okay, well, will the lore come back into it? in Terrifier 4, but no, like you've told me that people think that Terrifier 3 wasn't even gory enough. Isn't that like what you heard?
I don't remember.
Which I don't know how you can. I don't know how you
I don't
can.
know.
I don't know how
I
fans
don't recall
think.
saying that, but if I did, then I don't know.
It's like, oh, people want to go higher and higher. Like, you just, where else can you go? You've already seen people's faces be mashed in. You've already seen people like fucking die in awful ways. I really don't know how else you can go. I will say that the funniest part about Art the Clown, and something that I really thought was funny, was that scene with fucking Ron Howard's brother. Of course, lands in this franchise somehow. Like Art the Clown will just pull a gun out and shoot somebody.
Yep, that's what I loved in the first film.
It's so fucking funny. Like, because no other horror movie icon that I could think of like just pulls out a gun. It's all like knives and terrible things, right? Or machetes and shit like that. But he'll just pull out a gun and shoot you, which I think is hilarious. But I don't find watching these kinds of movies to be entertaining in that kind of ultra violent way at all. I find it to be just awful. I think if I was watching this with like a group of people in a theater and it was like, maybe everybody's hooting and hollering about some of these, maybe it's more palatable, but just watching it like one-on-one and having that experience and watching it as a movie, it's like, I found this to be just a chore to get through. And you're right, there's no story. So really you're just going from kill to kill. And they're just getting worse and worse. And then, families are being like killed and
mutilated.
I mean, do I need to have a scene where like a demon bitch is fucking masturbating with a fucking butcher knife?
Yeah, so real quick with the gun thing, I remember
need to watch that in a film?
No. We did.
Did I ask for this? Like, I did. I can't unsee it, but that happened. I watched it and I knew what was happening. And it's like, I'll let you get back to what you're going to say, but it's so like edgy it's so obviously edgy. And I'm just like, I'm not here for it. I'm just not. I hate to sound like an old man, like whatever, like fine. I'm not ever going to stop art from being art. Be art. Like do whatever you want. Make a crazy horror as much as you want. Push the envelope. There's an audience for it. I'm not part of that audience. That's all I'm saying.
And again, going back to what we said with the first Terrifier, up until the very final scene, you remember, because he kind of got his head chopped off or something, and then like all the lights went off. The first one felt like, again, he was a real person. Like when we watched it,
he did.
So, but that was later. And I remember saying this about the first Terrifier about the gun. Like when he was getting his ass beat by the girl, and he just said, "Fuck it." Like I'm like, that is smart. You don't see that. And you're right. I laughed.
You never see that.
No, you don't. But now that he's become more this kind of born again, like his head was born, and that's again, I don't even know. But to my point,
that's right. Yeah.
So
thank you.
It ended in Terrifier 2 when it ended, which kind of started this film 5 years prior. Him and Vicky, the demon woman, whatever you want to call her, leave the psychiatric ward. They go to wherever their home is. And now it's 5 years later. So have they been frozen? This is my point. This is when I knew right away. I'm like, this plot doesn't make sense. And here we are again. I'm going to plot because you're watching Terrifiers for the kills. I'm sorry. That is, you said it. That's the fan. You're watching this for just being cringe, over the top, brutality. But then, because again, then all of a sudden they come back to life. I'm like, well, what have they been doing? Have they been sitting still for 5 years? And so
waiting.
And then I'm glad they brought back Sienna because it is her story. She was a much better actress in the first. I will admit, I always hated her brother in the first one, Jonathan. I don't know if it's the actor or just the way he wrote it, just the way he talked, just annoyed the shit out of me. But yeah, then obviously now she's living with her aunt and uncle, but it's like she's been 5 years in basically a psychiatric ward, and he's just been trying to live his life. I'm like, why aren't they both going there? Like, I don't know. Oh, I will say, the one thing I did laugh at, and I shouldn't have laughed at, besides that, is obviously Art is, well, two parts, because it's going to lead. He was so excited to see Santa Claus. Like, you felt there's actually, you knew the end, what was going to happen sooner or later. Like, it wasn't going to end well. But at the time, you're like, oh, he wants me, and it goes crazy. And then when he's giving all the presents to the kids and he gets kicked out, and I'm like, and then the kid opens up a fucking bomb. I don't know.
I mean, I respected that they went there because I was like, is this gonna end up in the murder of more children? And then it did. And I was like, okay. Okay, cool. Like that's you keep upping the ante. That's fine. Yeah, I just yeah, wild. Fucking wild.
So I'm going to skip to the end because I don't want to. There's no real need to pick this apart. People who watch Terrifier, but there is something I really found. So yes, obviously they're killing her family members one apart. It's basically they're trying to break Sienna, blah blah blah, and her niece or her cousin, excuse me, which is weird. But all right, so they she defeats, and again I say defeat. No, Art. She gets the sword. Her hands are brutalized. Art and the demon witch, whatever, and then like the floor opens up, and her cousin's hanging there. So I'm going right to the end. This part makes no sense. Now, there's going to be two parts that make no sense. So obviously, her hands got bashed in with freaking mallets, and she's trying to pull her cousin up. Like, here, grab this, and she gives her the handle of the sword, and she's holding the blade. What part of this was smart? So I'm sorry, dude, listen to me. If you're down on the edge and all I have is a sword, I know I'm not going to be able to hold the blade and get you up. I'm going to I'm like, either you're fucked or I'm going to go find something else. And then yes, obviously she can't hold on the blade because guess what? It's fucking sharp. Like that line of thinking to me was so stupid. But then afterwards, somehow she heals. Like she heals. I'm like, what the fuck
she does.
Like her hands are also better.
A chosen one or something.
That
was like part of like the lore that was kind of talked about, like that there's like a sort of a good entity to go against these bad entities or whatever and stuff like that. I just think that they just wrote that plot in there so that they could give her cousin the sword for Terrifier 4. So like her cousin in whatever alternate dimension she's living in, she has at least a weapon to fight with, because I'm sure that will come back.
Oh, of course.
In the lore. But like, yeah, you're right. It's stupid.
Well, again, going back to Terrifier 2, I want to know more. If there's anything, why did the father know about, because remember, he drew, if I remember correctly, like Art the Clown, he drew Sienna in those wings. He knew the future. But they never fully explained it. He had all these drawings.
They sure didn't.
Yeah, so there's a brief. I'm like, okay, now we're going to get more of it. And yes, he draws the female heroine, which is basically her older, and then I guess that and that was it. And so I know that's going to come into play. Terrifier, like I don't know. I just want a little more explanation and whatever. I mean, we've watched plenty of horror movies. You don't have to give us much. Friday the 13th. I know you watched the second one. We've been talking about that. That's absurd. And then obviously Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes, if you remember the original thing, he basically killed the kids, but they never showed it, and they burned him, and that was the back. And then he was just getting even. So again, it doesn't matter what the reasoning it is. Just give me a little something. And because I'm watching these kills, and like it is survival. Like again, the mice going down, and then they slice the stomach to get the mice. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen for. I don't care. I hope it. He says it's the last one, which we've heard that on plenty of. But at least that gives me hopes. If they at least complete the story, then like whatever, 10 years by now. Oh, he's back. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more in this movie that wasn't Terrifier 2. Brutal kills, a lot of blood, shocking, cringe. It's not for me. There again, every Terrifier I had a look away. I'm like, oh my god, and I'm shocked. Like I think there's a time I had my head in my hands, and because I watched this on my laptop. I would not let my wife suffer through these movies. I'm like, I gotta watch this in my own room. Like I have a little private area.
My wife work because I was like, I don't want anybody to see this shit.
I'm like, all right, and I think I was just sitting at my desk and I'm just staring in disbelief. And I don't. Again, I know there's been movies. I remember the Hostel films, which were very, and I'm like, that doesn't even compare to this anymore. I mean, I don't even know. I've never seen something that's been this brutal as a franchise, and but I don't go
Mm.
looking for them. And the only reason we did this is like, oh, Art the Clown. This is the new face of horror. People love this. They say he's iconic,
Mm-hmm.
and I get it. The look is iconic, and he,
Sure.
whatever. I don't. He's got that status, but I wouldn't put him up there with some of the more greats just because those films. I don't know. And again, maybe that's just me being old. Maybe I'm not with the times. But I'll tell you, I did ask my daughter one time, like, "Hey, have you ever seen the Terrifier films?" And her answer was just like, "F no." She didn't bleep it. I bleeped it for her, but she's not into them. But I'm like, don't, just don't then, because I wanted to know. I wanted to find some like younger generation because maybe this is just the way it is. But you're right. This is just his style. This is definitely just a niche audience, and I'm not it. But like you,
Yeah.
when Terrifier 4 comes out, I
Not it.
won't. I won't. Maybe we will go to theaters. Like, let's just finish this strong. But that's for a future time. So Soto, I gotta ask you.
Yeah.
Where in all the rankings of your movies, blah blah blah. Where exactly
Mm-hmm.
are you putting Terrifier 3 on your list?
So I said with Terrifier 2 that the director, I think his name is Damien Leone,
Yeah.
that I was like, I get it. Like, you have your own vibe, everything like that. Like, I get what you're trying to do. That's why I ranked it as high as I did. I think it's in my top 20. Because I like the vibe shift from 1 to 2. Yes, there were horrifying kills in 2, but with 2, at least there was. It was such a leap from quality. Because Terrifier 1, the dialogue is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And it is unwatchable and terrible and gross. And Art the Clown steals the show. And you're right, he's more human and whatever. But I felt like Terrifier 2 took it to a whole new level of quality. It's got this, like, I don't know, is it like 16 millimeter kind of vibe to it? So it does look like an 80s movie, which I appreciate. Except done, and I mean, it's masterful way of just creating these things with violent, like these images of violence. It's well done. As a movie, this movie fucking sucks. I'm sorry. Like, as a movie, like, I don't want to watch this movie ever again. I don't have any interest to watch this movie. If this is your movie, cool, great, more for you. I have not experienced life experience that people who love this movie like, so great. If you are a horror movie and, like, I just read somebody be like, this is a horror movie masterpiece, cool. Go fuck yourself. It's not for me. So it's just not. Like, we'll never hang out, and that's fine. I don't have to hang out with everybody. In fact, I hate most people. But to be quite honest, this is one of the worst movies that I've seen. I have zero interest in watching this movie again. I will never recommend this movie to anybody. Like, this movie just sucks. It's not boring though. A lot of bad movies are boring. And yeah, so it's gonna go low. I don't think it's the lowest because I've seen some shit, but it's gonna go lower than you would think. And
Because I will tell
I
you
mean,
what
well,
you're
maybe
thinking. You have Terrifier 2 at 18.
yeah, no, I know,
I
I
know.
know. And
I
this
was
one's
just
gonna
kind of
be,
bringing that up while you're thinking. Because I know.
as far as movies go, because I see a lot of, and I have to redo this, but
I'm always redoing it.
I have to redo this. But to be quite honest with you, I mean, I can't put all these movies in front of it, um, because I get what it was doing, but oh man, this movie's gonna have to be like, I feel like I quite honestly feel like 41 is a good place to put this movie for
So
me right now.
right underneath Devil Wears Prada. That's kind of.
Yep. That feels, because again, I'm not saying that this is a poorly made film by any stretch of the imagination. It has no plot. That's fine. If you're a fan of Terrifier, you're really not watching for the plot. You're just watching to see what Art the Clown does. But it didn't have an impact for me as much as Terrifier 2 did. I think that it just kind of went above and beyond to go there, and that's fine. You got to please your audience, but not for me. This is not a movie that is for me at all.
So I will tell you this, looking at my list, and I've already kind of put this in. This was kind of a gut check because I had to fix my chat GPT. Because once you get a lot of, I use it for screenshots and it keeps erasing. So I had the first Terrifier at 21. Okay. That's where that, and I had Terrifier 2. Right now it still sits at 13. And I've kind of reworked my top 20. And so I still feel confident where that is. Like you said, this is leaps better. And like I said, I think I wanted more, and maybe I was more favorable, or maybe I have to rework my 30s. Um, I did not go as low as you. I mean, it definitely was lower than the first one. Right now, I'll be honest, I had it at number 30. That's kind of where I sat it because there's a lot of movies in that area where it's like, all right, I see it. I don't know. And again, I might have to rework it at the more because I look at, we talked about Nightmare Before Christmas, and I'm like, I wanted to love that, and I didn't. And I'm sorry, that might give me some hate. So right now, for me, it's sitting at 30. Because, like I said, like I said, I get what he's doing. I'm still intrigued. The fact that we want to see 4, I think that just tells you something. I just want it to give me a little bit more. Because I think, I even said with Terrifier 2, if it kind of gave me more back lore, that could have been a top 10 film. But I think we were also looking at how much it improved over the first one. You know what I'm saying? So right. I think I'm like, so now I'm thinking like, well, is that the case? Because the first one, yeah, because it was bad dialogue, the kills. I think they put us in the initial shock. Yeah, kills, and there's going to be things in here that are memorable for the wrong reasons.